evening. Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to Tylane Ducksworth Reviews. I am Tylane. So today we're going to be getting into Diddy being denied bail again. Thank y'all for chilling with me over here at Tylane Ducksworth Reviews, where commentary meets clarity, depth, and just a touch of a Pisces perspective, alrighty? So now look, Diddy has officially been denied bail again, y'all. I want to say, girl, child, this is like the 4th or 5th time, okay? Nothing beats a failure but a try, I guess. Anywho, yeah, what makes this even more wilder is that the third victim who disappeared during the trial that was MIA, everybody wondering, like, did something happen to her? Where is she? Like, girl. And then, in the words of Mystical Girl, right before the verdict, somebody looking for me, here I go. She popped out, okay? She popped on out. And she has now come forward with a letter not accusing him, but pleading for his release until sentencing. Let me repeat that. The same woman who once said that Diddy beat her while she was pregnant is now asking the judge to let him out on bail, y'all. But the judge still said no. I say, baby, at this point, the plot twists are just auditioning for Shonda Rhimes' show, girl. They getting callbacks and everything. We're going to go ahead and break this all the way down. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and just know that everything in this video is alleged. We're going to go ahead and listen to this.
Into some breaking news just as we've been on the air with a judge in literally the last maybe 10 minutes denying Diddy's motion for bail, meaning Sean Combs is going to stay behind bars until his sentencing in 2 months from now. Let me bring in Yasmin Vasugian, who's covering this story for us. Yas, we're going to get to all of this, but let's start with this ruling that just came in.
Yeah.
Do we know anything else? What else can you tell us?
Yeah, so essentially what we're learning from this judge, I mean, it's some of the same reasoning that we heard with the initial ruling when the defense also asked for instance, him to be released on $50 million bail, in which case they're saying essentially that he failed to provide burden of proof as to why he should be released on this $50 million bail. Also citing his previous criminal background along with being a potential danger to society. So I don't think it's necessarily a surprise how that this denial came in, that in fact Sean Diddy Combs at this point will have to wait inside that prison in Brooklyn until his sentencing on October 3rd. But nonetheless, I also think that amidst all of this, it is incredibly likely that his defense attorneys will pursue other avenues in which they'll seek to have bail granted on his behalf and leading up to October 3rd.
What about this other piece of information we learned about today, this letter from Diddy's ex-girlfriend?
All right, y'all, so we about to get into that. But before we do, I just about to say, it look like you about to be like Kels. I said in my last video that this judge does not like Diddy and was not about to let. He pretty much is like, the hell with what the juror said. I don't like you. I believe that you are immoral, and I'm going to do whatever in my judicial power to keep you locked up behind these bars. This is alleged, okay? He didn't say that, but that's what it's looking like, okay? Girl, this is a mess.
Somebody who, I guess, had initially been part of the case against Sean Combs, who now is basically writing or was writing in his defense. What's going on here?
So she was seen as victim number 3, or cited as victim number 3 by the prosecution, and she was set to testify on behalf of the prosecution initially going into the trial, and then she kind of goes to the prosecution, literally, in that they said in court, stated in court, that she was supposed to testify. However, they had tried to remain in contact with her and had not necessarily heard back. I would also reiterate that she had given an interview to a podcast in 2019, I believe, in which she said and cited that Sean Diddy Combs had repeatedly stomped on her chest. His former assistant testified in court as well that he had witnessed Sean Diddy Combs throwing apples at her. She dated Sean Diddy Combs for multiple years, on and off, throughout the time in which he dated Cassie Ventura as well. But nonetheless, she is now writing this letter to help the defense, in which she's citing, I'm writing because I do not view Mr. Combs as a danger to me or to the community. This is his first criminal case. Throughout the investigation and proceedings, he has been cooperative, respectful, and compliant. But obviously, this time around, Hal, it does not work.
Alrighty. So now, in case you missed it, I already covered the trial, the verdict, and the public outrage in my last Diddy video. So I'm just going to summarize this because we all know what's going on by now. So basically, Diddy was found not guilty on the most serious charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering by force, fraud, or coercion. He was found not guilty on those charges, but he was convicted on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution charges under the Mann Act. That is the crossing state lines and paying the escorts for commercial sex. The jurors heard a total of 34 witnesses, but the defense basically shredded, debunked most of them. Court is theatrics, and the defense put on a better performance than the prosecution did. That's pretty much what it boiled down to. It was given law and order, y'all. Diddy's defense team, they came to snatch wigs and reasonable doubt. Because we continued to hear, and people was getting upset, thinking that certain people was being biased, but they was just reporting what they were seeing. Some days they were saying the prosecution had it, then they would turn around and say, no, the defense was doing good. And the public was pissed. Because like I said before, they want Diddy behind the bars. They don't care because that video that everybody saw from the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, and because he came out with that fake ass video crying, talking about he was messed up. Because of all that, people are pretty much like, sir, we don't believe you. So because you lied from jump and said that it was a money grab when the lawsuit first came out that Cassie Ventura submitted, and you lied saying that it was a money grab, then the video came out after that, then your apology after the video, people is just not here for you. They don't believe you. Not to mention all the other stuff you've done with people's publishing and everything else over the years. The situation with Dirty Money and Making a Band and Danity Kane and all that kind of stuff. People just not here for it. One of the key pieces missing was a block testimony from an expert on coercive control, which could have painted a clearer picture for the jurors of long-term abuse to give an explanation of why these women continue to stay with Diddy, go back with him, set up the freak-offs and things of that nature, because they had been in an abusive relationship for years. But because that information was not allowed, the judge blocked it. The expert, Don Hughes, was not able to go into detail or elaborate on coercive control. And let's not forget the prosecution showed the hotel footage of Diddy violently attacking Cassie. However, the statute of limitations made that video technically irrelevant. It was only able to be used except for as a character evidence to show Diddy's character. But like I said in my last video, them playing that video over and over again hurt the prosecution because it played into the narrative, the picture that the defense was painting, that it was an abusive relationship. And then with the expert not being able to elaborate, they just took this as a toxic, abusive relationship. This is a man with money and power. They wanted access to the lifestyle, fame, and money, and they chose to stay in an abusive relationship. I'm not saying that's what happened, but from the outcome of the verdict, it appears we all heard that that's the narrative that the defense was painting, and Diddy was found not guilty, which supports the fact that the jurors did not believe the witnesses. So the judge is still saying, bail denied, so get out my face, you're violent, you got a violent history, and that's the end of it. But y'all, here's where things take a turn. The third accuser, as I was saying, which we now know is Gina. She was subpoenaed by the prosecution to testify, but she disappeared during the trial. She is now resurfaced to slam Diddy, but because the prosecution didn't prove their case. Regardless of what everybody want to say, putting your emotions into it, when you go back like I did and dig deep and research the evidence, the prosecution did not prove their case. And that's not me listening to other people, that's me doing the research myself. Gina was subpoenaed to testify. She disappeared, now she's resurfaced. My girl, she ain't trying to press charges. What she did do, well, she done popped up and said that Diddy deserves to be out on bail until sentencing. That's right, y'all heard me. The same woman who once told Tasha K that Diddy beat her while pregnant is now asking the court to show him mercy. Now, I'm not saying that Diddy is cleared of anything, but what I am saying is this is exactly the kind of contradiction that makes jurors hesitate. And now the public is doing the same thing they accused Diddy of, which is shaming a woman who changed her stance. And that's what I don't agree with. The public is now shaming Gina because she went from being a victim to now supporting Diddy. I believe that has to do with years of abuse and manipulation. I don't believe that Gina is this flat out liar. We can't have it both ways. It's either she's a liar, she wanted access to money, power, and lifestyle and fame, or this is somebody that has been abused and manipulated for years. And that would apply to all the women involved. These women are abused, and the actions that they're making is because they've been through years of abuse with this man and he's able to manipulate them, or they just bout their paper and they was willing to deal with what he was dishing out in order for them to get what they need to get. In the words of Ronnie, they was willing to use what they got to get what they want. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's one or the other. We can't keep shifting this back and forward. I don't believe that's who they are. I believe that these women were abused. But now the public is calling her a liar. They saying that she got paid. She needs to be locked up in jail. Before we move on though, we're going to listen to this clip that she did with Tasha K from 2019.
And he started like punching me like this. Like he avoided my face, but he like started punching me like on the side of my head, and I was just like covering my face. And he did that, and then after he got done doing that, he like, cause he was standing, his legs were like in between me, so he stomped on my stomach like really hard, and I like took the wind out of my breath. I couldn't breathe, and he kept hitting me, and I was like pleading to him like, can you stop? I can't breathe. And he like stopped for a little bit. He like grabbed my hair from the back and like was like punching the back of my head, cause he was just avoiding my face when he was like hitting me. Wow.
Lord have mercy. After listening to that, y'all, you guys not heard that before. I just don't believe that this young lady, I think she, in 2019, I think she told Tasha K she was 26 or 27 at the time. I don't believe that she's doing this willingly. Maybe allegedly somebody reached out to her. Maybe the family's pressuring her. He's pressuring her, her attorneys, allegedly. I'm not sure. But I don't believe that Gina is doing this on her own accord, which I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. And like I said, everything in this video is alleged. I don't know anything to what I'm saying to be factual regarding that. I don't know. So what's the judge's reasoning? Judge Subramanian said that despite Diddy being acquitted of the major charges, he's denying bail because Diddy has a history of violent behavior, past accusations, including the defense admitting to Diddy's violence. Also, they believe that Diddy is a flight risk, even with his passport being revoked. They probably think he's going to try to get on over there with Russell over there in Bali. That's probably where they think he's trying to go, allegedly. Now, let me remind y'all, during the trial, Diddy's own lawyer said their quote was, "We own the domestic violence." They said that repeatedly, that they own the domestic violence. And that's why I said the video for the prosecution worked as a double-edged sword because it played into the defense's narrative. And I believe that the defense double-edged sword was them owning the domestic violence. They were able to get him acquitted of the RICO. They helped him get off the RICO charges. But now it's being used against him to justify denying bail. I say, baby, that's like confessing to cheating during couples therapy and then acting shocked when you end up single. Because that's exactly what's happening. Like I said, y'all, that judge is not here for Diddy or his lawyers at all. So now we're asking, is Diddy being punished before he's even been sentenced? As we all know, Diddy was denied bail because of risk of flight or danger. Judge rules. That's the headline for People magazine. This is according to People. A federal judge denied Sean Diddy Combs bail in a new ruling on Monday, August the 4th. This marks the 5th time that Combs, 55, has been denied release from the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center. where he has been held since September 2024 arrest. In court documents obtained by People, Judge Subramanian wrote that the court must find by clear and convincing evidence that the person is not likely to flee or pose a danger to the safety of any other person or the community if released, and that Combs posed a risk of flight or danger. Judge Subramanian went on to reference the conditions that would be required to warrant Combs' release, saying that these would be exceptional reasons warranting release where it was undisputed that the defendant posed no risk or flight or danger, and where unique circumstances counseled release, including the defendant's advanced age and serious medical conditions, which require care that the MDC may not be able to provide. Also, the ruling comes days after Combs' ex-girlfriend, Virginia Gina Hyun, I hope I'm not butchering her last name, who was referred to as victim number 3 in his indictment, wrote a letter to a New York judge asking for him to be released on bail. In her letter, Gina cited, she identified herself by name for the first time, advocated for Judge Subramanian to grant Combs bond, and the reason she cited was for his family. She said something about his family and his children depended on him, and they depend on him for financial support. Sound like them boys need to get a job. Okay? King Rap is not rapping for you, sir. I believe that Quincy is on Quincy acts, so he's an actor. He's on Family Business New Orleans, I believe. So he is on That's My Home. Okay, so he's on the Family Business New Orleans. I believe Justin may have his own business, but those girls should be the only one that are relying on Diddy for support. Them boys need to get a job, okay? Y'all need to get a job, all right? It's time to get a job. Anyway, as I was saying, Combs' attorney previously asked the judge on July 28th to release Diddy on a $50 million bond while he awaits sentencing, which is going to be October the 3rd. But Judge Subramanian, he denied the original request back on July 2nd, and then he just denied it again on August the 4th. So Combs was denied bail 3 times before his trial began in May. He will be sentenced on October 3rd for his conviction of transportation to engage in prostitution. That's the Mann Act. And by the sentencing date, Combs will have spent more than a year in jail, which will be credited to his ultimate sentence. And as we all know, Diddy faces a maximum of 20 years in prison. Each one is up to 10 years. As I said in my last video, so a concurrent sentence means that the defendant serves all sentences at the same time. A consecutive sentence means the defendant serves one sentence after another. Is Diddy being punished before he's even sentenced? This is a contradiction the system can't seem to reconcile. So the jury is saying not guilty on sex trafficking. The defense owns the violence. The statute of limitation regarding the Cassie videotape, Diddy can't be charged for that because the statute of limitations has run out. It's run its course for that. In California, the statute of limitations at that time was 1 year. I believe it's still 1 year. Public outrage says lock him up anyway. And that was my point, is that when I'm doing these videos, I'm not siding with Diddy. I'm coming to you guys with a unbiased perspective. I'm giving it to you from the way the prosecution sees it and the way the defense sees it, and then overall the way the jurors, they made the decision on what they were given. But I realized that the public, including myself, we all had been initially, I was before I'd done the research, working off of emotions. Everybody saw that video and it's like, we don't care. We've been hearing about this man for decades. Now we have a visual, lock him up. And now the judge says, nope, still denying bail. Meanwhile, sentencing is set for October 3rd and prosecutors are asking for 4 to 5 years while the defense is hoping for just 2 years. I believe that Diddy gonna find out the hard way that he needs to show some kind of remorse and humble himself, but it needs to be sincere. I believe that he has not humbled himself, and he has continuously tried to press the issue of getting out on bail. I don't believe that Diddy has learned from his mistakes. And because of that, I'm not gonna say mistakes because of his choices. Because of that, sir, you need to sit and deal with yourself internally and figure out who you are, how to atone for your sins in order for you to move forward. And that's why your bail will continuously get denied, because you are not taking account. You verbally telling people that, oh, you're sorry. Your actions are not saying you're sorry. If you were sorry, you wouldn't be trying to actually get out. You would feel the need to say, you know what, I need to be punished. I need this time to sit here. I understand that nobody wants to be locked up, especially coming from your lifestyle. I get that. But at the same time, you have to show the public and show the judge that you are taking this serious and that you are remorseful. And you continuously trying to get bail is telling the judge that you don't give a damn. And that's why I think you're going to be sitting for another 4 to 5 years, sir. Just my opinion. Even though Gina, who was the third victim, third accuser, is now siding with Diddy, it didn't move the court one bit. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Y'all still with me? Now, y'all, I know this case got more twist than a plate of rotini, but stay with me, please. So here's my take. This case has gone from legal drama to emotional theater. And while I'm not here to defend Diddy at all, I promise y'all I'm not. I am here to call out when justice starts to feel like vengeance. If the system says you're not guilty, then why are you still being punished? And a part of that, in my opinion, is because I really feel that the judge does not feel that Diddy feels any kind of remorse. And his actions show that. Now, if a victim changes their stance, is she lying or is she just human? I feel like that Gina is just human. I don't believe that Gina is this person that social media is saying that she is. So shout out to the Art of Dialogue. Let's go ahead and hear Gina out real quick.
I have a quick question for you. You think Diddy's gonna win this trial? Before you go, I just what I want to know. If Diddy does win this trial, do you think your life will be threatened in any kind of way?
No.
You don't think so? You think everything will be safe? Because the girl Aubrey O'Day, she said that if Diddy wins, she's gonna leave the country.
I mean, he never did anything dangerous to me. I'm not scared.
You're not scared? Okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Gina says she's not scared. Do we believe Gina? I don't know, Gina. Alrighty, y'all. So lastly, really quickly here, let's go ahead and take a look. Some messages. This was from August the 3rd. Somebody said she got paid. Someone else said, interesting. Lauren, I'm gonna play devil's advocate and ask the following. Did she actually write that letter and of her own free will? Or was it suggested to her that she write that letter? Somebody else was just decided to be, I don't know, she misses the freak offs and needs her drugs from P. Diddy. What a shame. Any man just want to have fun. Go for it. Don't date this low. Like, baby, you need to work on your grammar. That's a mess. Somebody else, clown. She's a clown and he's a clown. So as you can see, people, is just not here for it. And some people were understanding and some were just being vile and disrespectful. So what does that say about you saying that kind of stuff about this lady that you don't know? You may not agree with her choices, but you don't have to walk in this lady's shoes. So you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You have no idea. You need to be mindful about what you say about people when you don't know them. That was the saga of Sean, P. Diddy, Brother Love, Combs. Drop in the comments. Give me y'all feedback. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Is this fair, or are we just trying to make an example out of him? Do you feel like justice was served with Diddy being charged for the 2 counts of the Mann Act and acquitted on the RICO? Did you always believe that the RICO was the prosecution overcharging? Or do you feel like that he just has done so much, he needs to do time and it doesn't matter if it's legal or not? They just need to put him in prison and you don't care because you feel like that he's just gotten away with too much. Alrighty, y'all. Tylane Ducksworth Reviews. I am Tylane. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want more real talk and cases like this. Till next time, you got this today from a Pisces perspective. And I'm out. Y'all take care. Be safe.